Hello class. I am pleased with the results of the risk tolerance extra credit assignment. You all seem to learn a lot about yourselves and your risk tolerance, and I can tell that you all put a lot of thought into your responses. Your risk tolerance is something that is very personal to you, and we are all different. If you are risk averse, then that's perfectly fine. However, I just wanted to point out the fact that certificates of deposit and money market accounts are not the best vehicles for retirement savings unless you are approaching retirement. If you are young, then the rates offered from these vehicles are not even high enough to keep up with inflation. So in a sense, they almost lose money through the loss of value associated with inflation. I'm not saying these accounts are not useful, they are just poor vehicles for long-term retirement planning if you are young. Most of you are young enough that you have time on your side, so do not be so quick to write off investments like mutual funds. Having time on your side means that you have a long horizon until your retirement that will allow you more opportunities to recover should something happen in the market. Mutual funds can offer you higher returns like stocks offer, coupled with risk reduction and safety that diversification offers. The difference in earnings between a mutual fund and a CD account can be drastic, so please be aware. In the end, this is still your decision. I just ask that you think your decision through. Please have a look at this graph. It shows the performance of a dollar in stocks, bonds, and bills over time. Notice how much stocks outperform everything else. Over that span of time, Treasury bills barely beat inflation with a return of 3.7%. Now think about the fact that certificates of deposit only return about 1.5% if you're lucky, and money market accounts only return about 0.5%. Look at how much more money you could have if you invested in the stock market. I noticed that many of you suggested Apple stock instead of investing in the Target Fund on Project 6. Apple is a large, successful company, but investing in individual stocks is still very risky. Think of companies like Blockbuster, Enron, and Sears that were huge, successful companies unexpectedly went bankrupt or are being phased out. Even with large corporations, it is still risky to own individual stocks. Too much can happen over time, especially if you are 30+ years away from retirement. Instead, please consider mutual funds or ETFs, exchange-traded funds. These funds offer you diversification as you own a small percentage of many different stocks instead of 100% in one stock. Then if something happens in the market, you may only lose on a few stocks out of your fund, but the other stocks will make up for the losses. ETFs work the same way, except usually you just track the index of the market or track a certain sector. One final note about the downside of mutual funds. Some mutual funds are expensive because the manager is actively trading to achieve higher returns. You should always make sure the mutual fund you are buying is cost effective, so the mutual fund costs are not eating up your savings. You also want to make sure the fund does not pass down large tax burdens to you. You should research the mutual fund to see what type of investment policy the mutual fund manager has. Make sure it lines up with your investment strategies. If you are uncomfortable doing this, then an ETF that tracks the market is an easier, simpler approach.